Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Public notice of this meeting has been advertised in the Asbury Park Press on February 15th, 2022. It was also advertised in the Independent on February 16th, 2022. Notice has been posted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, Chapter 231, effective January 16th, 1976, in the Board Office, 370 Broad Street. A copy of this notice is also on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Members of the public wishing to address the Board of Education must raise their hand by pressing the hand icon on the screen. Your full name must also appear. They will then be recognized by the Board Secretary to state their name and address and are requested to limit their comments to 3 minutes. The public participation session will last 1 hour. The public participation portion of the meeting is open to citizens for the purpose of addressing agenda items. Issues raised by members of the public might require review and investigation and may or may not be responded to by the board or superintendent during the meeting. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and staff have a specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by any member of the public. This meeting is being recorded for the purpose of board review and future reference and to assist in the preparation of minutes. Roll call, please.
Yes, board members, as I call your name, please make sure you have unmuted your microphone so we can hear your response. And then after responding, please put it back on mute. Mrs. Abrahamson.
Here.
Mrs. Cunningham.
Here.
Mrs. Grabowski.
Here.
Mr. Hausman.
Here.
Mrs. Olson.
Here.
Mrs. Spangler. Mrs. Spangler? Okay, Mr. Stahl?
Here.
Mr. Staley?
Here.
Mrs. Tevis?
Here.
Mr. McGrogan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. You can see on the slide on the screen now, this is our agenda for the evening. We are committed to providing a quality education for all of our students. This is articulated in our vision and mission statements. And next on the agenda is our legal overview.
Well, good evening. I'd like to thank the Board of Education for allowing me to present this legal overview to you today. And again, proud that my firm has been representing this Board of Education for the past 5 years or so. And the attorney that we've assigned to this particular matter, John Crute, has decades of experience in handling send-receive litigation throughout the state. I'm proud to work with him and with Scott Fetter, our consultant, on this particular matter. So what is a send-receiving relationship? First of all, those relationships were historically where communities may have had an elementary school but did not have a high school, would make arrangements with neighboring districts to send their students to that neighboring high school. Those relationships were obviously in many instances documented, put down on paper, but now they're basically governed by statute, particularly NJSA 18A 38-13. And we know from historical documents, case records, newspaper articles that the send-receiving relationship has existed between Keyport and Union Beach for many, many decades. And we know that since at least 1964, Union Beach agreed to send its high school students to Keyport High School. and that relationship has existed till that time. And the thing with this type of a relationship is that it can only be changed by the Commissioner of Education. So what brought this lawsuit forward is we had proof that Union Beach had been making decisions to send their students to other places and basically ignoring the relationship that has existed for decades, and that necessitated this action. So when you're dealing with a matter like this, you always hope that your clients are going to be truthful. And in a few months, we're going to be asked to have client representatives from Keyport get on the stand, raise their hand, and swear to tell the truth in court. And I happen to know that my clients are going to get up there and they're going to speak to having fulfilled their obligation for decades to all students, including students who come to there from Union Beach. But what happens when we decided to publicize the existence of this lawsuit, which has been in place since 2019, we got a very strange response from Union Beach. And there's on the screen is an excerpt from a February 12th, 2022 letter that was sent out. And I would like you to pay attention to the highlighted portion in which Union Beach states, first, there is no known send-receive agreement between Union Beach and Keyport. I can tell you that you don't always get to pick your clients, but if your clients are starting out from this place, I think they have a difficult position to uphold. If we can move to the next document. Yeah, the reason that you can't credibly take that position is here we have an excerpt from a 1983 administrative law decision involving the Keyport Board of Education, and you could see one of the parties to that action was a Union Beach Board of Education. In that decision, the court took a stipulation from the parties. And what is a stipulation? A stipulation is that the parties have agreed to put something on the record that they both agreed to. And the parties in that case, Union Beach and Keyport Board of Education, stipulated that a send-receive relationship had existed for decades prior to 1964, and that on December 1, 1964, the parties put together a written contract in terms that was put in place for a term of 10 years at that point. It was not renewed because statutorily, NJSA 18A 38-13 takes over, and that is, again, how the relationship is governed. If you could move to the next slide. So the bottom line is, despite the denials from Union Beach, there are documents which just fly in the face of those denials. So first on the screen is a tuition contract agreement from this very year, this very school year. This agreement obviously was signed on the 10th day of June, 2021 between the Union Beach Board of Education and Keyport Board of Education. And there it basically is laying out that, again, pursuant to the sending-receiving relationship, the sending district agrees to purchase educational services from the receiving district. Again, the receiving district being Keyport. You see the number of students and you see the total amounts at that time anticipated by the parties in this. And what do you see at the bottom? You see that the document itself, the tuition contract agreement, which again confirms the existence of a sending-receiving relationship, was signed by all the Board of Education officials for both the Keyport Board of Education and for the Union Beach Board of Education. So again, this flies in the face of any denial. Fast forward to the relationship and how it's governed by the county superintendent. What you're seeing on the screen is a November 15, 2021 letter that is sent out by Dr. Richens, who's the county executive superintendent. And that individual is informing the board president for Union Beach, again, confirming the existence of a relationship, confirming the existence of a number of students that will be sent to Keyport, and basically also reminding them that that's one of the reasons that there's a sending representative that's on the board and sits at our board meetings every month or twice a month because of the existence of that relationship. All those things are going to be our proof of the existence of a sending-receiving relationship that has existed, that is perpetual, goes on every year, and these type of documents are signed every year by the parties in furtherance of that agreement. Next slide. So again, one of the reasons that Union Beach may have decided to surreptitiously violate this agreement is it costs money to go ahead and decide to get out of one of these relationships once they're put in place. In order to get out of this relationship, Union Beach is required to conduct a feasibility study, what's called a feasibility study in accordance with statute NJSA 18A 38-13 and regulation NJA 6A:3-6.1, and both of those require a study that basically analyzes the educational, financial, and racial impact on the affected district, in this case, Keyport. So again, there was clearly a decision for the past few years to violate this agreement without going through this statutory process, which is required under law. Next slide. So why did we go ahead and file the petition against Union Beach in 2019? So we've had evidence for the past few years that Union Beach has been violating the send-receive relationship for years. And in doing so, they're opting to use taxpayer dollars to send, to pay tuition to send those students to any place but Keyport. Hazlet, we found out through discovery, Henry Hudson, and Red Bank Regional. And of course, they're sending students there who are regular ed students, but most of the special needs students are still being sent to Keyport. So what we believe, my clients believe, this is an illegal diversion of students who should be attending Keyport High School, and that the behavior must stop for the benefit of all students. You can move to the next slide, please. What does Keyport want? Keyport wants Union Beach to stop violating the agreement and passing on the increased cost to Keyport residents. Otherwise, the loss is going to really continue, and it's going to ultimately impact our ability to expand programs and will have a substantial negative educational impact on the education that all KH students receive. Next slide. So when we go before the commissioner ultimately to get an order, the goal of this litigation is to enforce this existing sending-receiving relationship between the parties, stopping Union Beach from violating the send-receive relationship with Keyport by educating its students elsewhere, and preventing Union Beach from providing what is ultimately a disparate educational opportunity for both its special needs and general needs students. And obviously, we want to make sure that as part of that decision, Hazlet, Henry Hudson, and Red Bank Regional are ordered to stop conspiring with Union Beach to receive those students who are domiciled there, and ordering them to reimburse the Keyport Board of Education for all the financial harm over the past years, as well as the attorney's fees that are necessary to bring this petition, but which was really due to a blatant violation on their part. So again, their initial comments about this is to deny the existence of a relationship that we know they've acted in accordance with that relationship, at least for this past year and other years. So I think it is with pleasure that we move forward with this, because we feel that that we've been living up to our obligation under that relationship. We've met the needs of all students that have been sent to Keyport High School, And with that, I'm going to transition to our consultant, who will serve as our expert witness when we present the information to the court, Mr. Scott Fetter.
Thank you, Perry. You can move to the next slide, please. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Scott Fetter. I am a former Monmouth County Superintendent of two similar districts to Union Beach. One was Rumson, and the other one was Millstone. And while I was in Millstone, we also were in a situation where there was a lawsuit filed in reference to a very similar situation there. One thing I did learn during that time is that regardless of what district you're in, if you're in Union Beach, Keyport, I noticed there were approximately 200 people watching this today. And what I'm pretty sure of is what you care about most are your children. And you care about making sure they have the best possible education. And that is what I've learned as a 30-year educator. And I'm sure the people on this call, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, you really do want the best. And I know the team at Keyport, the group I've been working with, outstanding group of people who absolutely want what's best for all students. I have no doubt of that. So what happens in this situation is when Union Beach chooses to send a large portion of their high school students to other school districts, in this case, Red Bank, Hazlitt, and Henry Hudson, it has a negative impact on all students, both Union Beach high school students that attend Keyport and the Keyport students. If you look at the last bullet on this particular slide, it really talks about the main challenge faced by the receiving district in a time where the monies are already tight. In this particular case, if you look at 2 years ago, the amount of money received was a little over $2.8 million. And what Union Beach has shared with Keyport is next year, they should be expecting shy of $2 million, or a difference of about $830,000, $835,000. If you consider what $835,000 goes into a high school of approximately 400 students, that is a massive impact. And when we talk about things like course of study and what things are offered at different schools, imagine the challenges faced by any school where they are losing over the course of a 2-year period of time over $800,000 in monies, with also a budget that it's not a $1 billion budget. It's not a Newark type budget. It's a small budget for a smaller district that is trying to manage and do amazing things for all the students that attend their schools. This is a hardship, and it's a scary hardship to consider what might continue to happen over the years. So if I can ask you to go to the next slide, please. So just to elaborate a little bit with the numbers, and you heard Perry talk about the special education versus regular education. What I've also noticed in working with Keyport is every kid is equal. They're not looking at students as regular or special education. However, it looks like Union Beach might be, and that's of concern. If we look going down the line from 2018, 2019 to next year, this is the enrollment, and next year, of course, is an expected enrollment as established from Union Beach, delivering the information to Keyport. But let's look at that. 155 students were coming, of which 23 of those students were special needs students in 2018-19. Next year, that's a drop of 43 students from that time, or as we said, about $1.8 million, or a drop of about $800,000. But if you look at the left number, you see a continued decline. If you look at the right number, it's relatively static. And over time, if we extrapolate these numbers out, just play this out. Imagine 5 more years. Imagine if that 112 gets closer to 60 or 70, but the special education number stays in the low 20s. Now, it's not an issue with special needs students. The challenge is educating them to the fullest and meeting FAPE at all times. And if you continue to drop regular education students from the roster and continue with the same percentage of special education students, that over time is going to be a hardship that might not be able to be fixed so easily. Certainly, as also the finances will continue to drop. So when you look at the feasibility study that Perry mentioned, it talked about 3 factors: financial impact, racial impact, as well as instructional impact, educational impact. Just imagine the impact that happens in this environment. Regular education students continue to drop, and will, by all expectations, will just continue to drop as Union Beach continues to find other high schools other than Keyport. I think you heard Perry say that. It seems as, well, anybody other than Keyport seems to be the mentality. And that's a scary approach. That will really hurt the Union Beach students that are in Keyport. Those 112 students coming next year, they're coming to a high school next year that's going to be minus $800,000 in their ability to spend to educate and do amazing things for these students. Again, go forward 5 more years. What if it's another $1.5 million down? And what if it's another 40 students, 50 students down? Special needs students are absolutely just entitled to a powerful education as a regular education student, but it doesn't seem like that's how all people see it. So again, we're talking about small numbers that are getting to be larger numbers, that are getting to be larger and larger impact. If I can ask you to please go to the next slide. Another illustration, and the number here is in 2 years ago, as we showed you, we're looking at a significant drop. The final number, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. The final number is an unverified number, but it is a part of the send-receive relationship. Union Beach provides Keyport with the expected enrollment. And of course, the people in both districts understand what happens is there's always a kind of a cleanup where the actual numbers and the actual dollars all get exchanged and managed. But one thing is very clear. The outstanding projection of this is a scary thing to consider. And I don't know, I would believe Union Beach should be just as concerned as Keyport, because unless the students that go to Keyport are all of a sudden not of value to the Union Beach, which I can't believe would be true, because I can't believe the Union Beach board or administration or families care any less about the students that go to Keyport as they do about the ones that go to any of the other high schools. So the idea here is everyone needs to work together, become whole, and really make sure that the high school experience for all students, Union Beach and Keyport, is outstanding every day, every year. Thank you.
And what's going to happen in terms of special education is Keyport continuing to receive all or nearly all of the special ed students while other students are going to other high schools. This is intentional, selective withdrawal of students. They've shifted the balance of these students. And we are making a somewhat novel argument because, right, we're dealing with a case here that doesn't have the racial imbalance that we usually see as part of these cases that are challenged. But what we have here is a growing special needs imbalance that we're going to ask the court to address in this. So, and we believe this imbalance is discriminatory to all students, and that's our position moving forward.
And just to make it very, very clear, Mr. Latiboudere, we are committed to all learners from Union Beach and Keyport. We have and will continue to demonstrate that commitment to all, both special education and regular education students. We care about all of them, and some of the special education misconceptions, although understandably we're all advocating for children, it is very important that I speak to the fact that there are some misconceptions out there. And
if you can move to the next slide, please.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, this is a special ed misconceptions you were referring to.
Yes, those were the ones that I was referring to in there, and saying that, you know, in totality, we truly care about every single child. I want to make sure that those misconceptions are cleared up. And I want to now transition into speaking about some of the really great things that we could be at jeopardy of modifying in some way or another. So the continued loss of the Union Beach students will have that negative financial and educational ramifications for all students that attend Keyport High School. We have worked to create and maintain quality programs and opportunities in the entire district and the community. We are an amazing community. Our relationships with the borough, including the mayor, the Keyport Police Department and council, the Municipal Alliance, the library, that's done to support all learners and their families. Having a student resource officer at Keyport High School for the past few years has also supported our students in becoming very successful. Our collaboration with Keyport and Union Beach First Aid and Fire Departments have also supported the district during reactive and proactive times. Superstorm Sandy is an experience none of us will forget, as only next to COVID, sending us to school for that. But not only the above occurred, but during this time, the district hosted Memorial School students at no cost during that year. So it is important to note that we do work together proactively and reactively. The Parent Club and Keyport Education Foundation have worked extremely hard to provide experiences and opportunities for our children. A prime example of such is the collaboration with the Keyport Education Foundation in Kiwanis to provide school supplies to all the Keyport High School students during remote instruction. That was very thankful to all of the relationships, PTO, everyone who helped to make that happen. Additional relationships are Maggio's Food Service, Rutgers University for the support of our Global Logistics Academy and our School Climate Initiative, the Community Y for our on-site counseling services, Kane University that works with us as a result of being selected for a restorative justice pilot at Keyport High School, United Way, which has provided coats and materials to students of need, Brookdale Community College, as Dave Stout has supported our students prior to his appointment as president. He was the one who worked with us to bring the Early College Academy here and was also our keynote speaker last year at the 2021 graduation. As you can see, all of these partnerships help support our students, staff, and families to create a true community school. Mr. Waters will speak to some of the
I
grading
was just
system.
waiting for my introduction. I'm good.
I'm so sorry.
No,
Mr.
I'm
Waters.
Hi, everyone.
This is wait a minute. Now that you've got it, Mr. Waters, this is one
Yes.
of the most passionate individuals I've ever worked with, and on a day-to-day basis can probably best exemplify what Keyport High School means to him and to everyone else.
Thank you, Dr. Savoya. I'd like to, first I was going to say it's nice to see everybody out there, but being on the panel, I see nobody. So I can speak in front of 2,000 people, but I have no clue who's listening to me right now. So anyway, good evening, everybody. I thank everybody for joining in. I just wanted to take a few minutes just to highlight some of the great things that Keyport High School does offer. As you've heard already this evening, it is unfortunate that, the position that we're in right now, because what we fear down the line, it is in all of our best interest and hearts that we want equity for everybody, and equity is deserved for all of our learners. Unfortunately, if our enrollment numbers do continue to decrease, we could lose some of these wonderful opportunities that we provide for all students from Keyport and Union Beach. And obviously, it's our goal to continue offering everything we do in our small high school. So some of the things you see highlighted on this slide here. Number one is that we are one of the first high schools to offer a Global Logistics Academy. Global Logistics is a CTE that gives students the opportunity to learn about economics on a large scale with the use of a Rutgers approved curriculum. As most of you are aware, we're home to our Rising Stars Early College High School Academy through Brookdale Community College, which provides a number of our students each year the opportunity to graduate high school, not only with their high school diploma, but with their two-year degree from Brookdale Community College. Which our first class graduated last year, and we have a lot of kids that are moving on with success this first year in their college as a junior in college. So it's really, when it comes to the financial issues with college itself, they're only worrying about paying for 2 years of college. All of our 10th and 11th grade students here at Keyport High School take the PSAT and SAT regularly in both of those years. So we're at about 95 to 99% completion of those two very important exams. One of our huge offerings here is our virtual high school course offerings through a program called the CELUS. So even though due to our size, if we can't offer a course that fits into a student's schedule or a course of interest to a student, they can take it virtually here at school, which is a wonderful opportunity for all of our learners. Our AP course offerings from AP Calc to AP Bio, AP Lang and Comp, AP Lit, AP Environmental Science, AP Physics, AP Music Theory, AP Psychology are all courses that we offer. And as Dr. Savoya previously mentioned, Keyport High School was awarded a 3-year grant with Kane University to implement restorative justice practices. Restorative is a framework for community building and responding to challenging behaviors through meaningful dialogue. Implementing restorative justice practices shifts the conversation between teachers and students to be less punitive oriented. Next slide. Sorry. So the class of 2021 was our first cohort, as I previously stated, of Rising Stars Early College Academy. As I stated, they graduated with their associate's degree in social science from Brookdale Community College. I think they graduated, I don't know the exact amount of days, but it may have been 1 month before they graduated their actual high school diploma. We have a strong extracurricular and athletic program. Those of you that have been here for a long time know that there's a lot of pride in this tiny school when it comes to athletics and our extracurriculars. And we fit as many things as we can. Dr. Savoy has a saying, we fit a lot into a little. I forget your thing, something with 5 gallons into 2-gallon jug. I don't know what you say, but needless to say, we do have a strong athletic program, but we also have a very strong extracurricular program. Quick plug, for those who want to come out and see our KHS drama presenting Phenomenal Women, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night of this week. Please come out and see them present. We are future ready with a bronze status. We also have put in for our sustainable schools status this year. Updated facilities as a result of the successful passing of the 2018 referendum. Although our buildings may look a little old on the outside, we're pretty new on the inside. And I thank everybody for agreeing to that referendum. We have one-to-one technology across the board for our students and staff. Down at our athletic complex, it's been upgraded. Our track is brand new. And obviously we have a shared service agreement with Union Beach for our middle school sports as well. And that is all I have.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, which is, rare for me. I want to conclude with saying that we are Red Raider proud. As Mr. Fetter spoke to in his introduction, we may not all agree, but we're aligned to what's most important: our towns, our districts, and most importantly, our students. What I will do at this time is I will transition to Ms. Grabowski so that she can go to public participation.
Thank you. Okay, this does bring us to the public participation section of our meeting. Please be reminded that members of the public wishing to address the Board of Education must raise their hand by pressing the hand icon on the screen. Your full name must appear. They will then be recognized by the board secretary to state your name and address and are requested to limit comments to 3 minutes. The public participation session will last 1 hour. It is open to citizens for the purpose of addressing agenda items. Issues raised by the public might require review and investigation and may or may not be responded to by the board or superintendent during the meeting. All comments will be considered and a response will be becoming inappropriate. The board asks the members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of individuals in speaking, specifically comments regarding students and employees of board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and staff have a specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by any member of the public. And again, please use
Ms. Grabowski, you just cut out at the very end on my end. I believe your statement's finished, correct? Okay. So at this time, we will call on people who have their hand up. Again, as Ms. Grabowski just stated, it'll be 3 minutes. There is a timer. So first person, I'm going to, and you need to give me a minute to click an icon that allows you to talk. So the first person I see is Alan Hudson. Alan Hudson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for letting me in.
Please state your name and address.
Alan Hudson, 205 Broadway, Keyport. The first thing I would like to do is thank the board for addressing this issue, because I know it's something that's been going on for a long time. And I think it's important that we get to the bottom of it and figure out the best solution. what I want to say is mostly a statement, but Union Beach has been sending students to Red Bank since probably at least the 80s. And the issue I have is that if all of their higher performing academic students, or a large majority of them, are going to other districts, it affects our test scores and it affects our funding. At what point does Keyport decide that it's time to move on? I understand we'd like all the Union Beach students to come to Keyport, but why do we want to be in a relationship that with a district that doesn't want to be in a relationship with us? I think it's time that we kind of looked at Keyport on its own and figure out what our strategy is if this send receive goes away.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to call on, I hope I'm saying it correctly, Lois DeRupo.
Hi, thank you. Lois DeRupo, 107 Central Avenue, Union Beach. I just have to point out, as a parent to a Union Beach Elementary School with triplets on their way into Union Beach Elementary School, the way this is handled has been super frustrating. I hear Alan and I hear the points about how it impacts Keyport, but throughout this conversation, you've continued to say that you're not looking at our children as money and you're not looking down on our special ed kids, but really that's all that's coming across over and over and over again. All of these charter type special schools were not around at the time that this alleged send receive agreement was possibly put into place. So that's something that needs to be looked at and maybe, just maybe, needs to be taken into consideration for all kids going to high school. Now, Keyport is receiving tuitions for the Union Beach kids who are going to Keyport, so you're not being shortchanged, quote unquote, money for the kids who aren't in the school. Why should you receive funding for children that are not attending your school? Why should that be a thing? That's a question that I have that I'd like to understand, among many others. And again, I know that you're saying that, oh, it's not about special ed versus gen ed. It's not about this. It's not about that. Alan just said it himself. Oh, well, they're sending their special ed kids and it's impacting our test scores. Well, education is not about test scores. So that right there discredits your statement that you care about the kids, because obviously it's a dollar and cents things. Now, the changes to education and the way the money is being distributed through the state is negatively impacting all of our smaller districts. We're all bleeding money. All of us, all these small districts are bleeding money in a way that is impacting our children. And do you really think, as a school district, that the right thing to do is to come at another small district who's facing the same struggles that you are? I don't think that's fair, and I don't think it's right. And as two towns that have always been together, a lawsuit costing everybody money is not the right answer. So instead of that, we need to look for a solution that fits all of our kids, that doesn't call out who's special ed and who's gen ed and who's high performing and who's underperforming. If you really care about the kids, let's do the right thing by all the kids. If they place into a school that's a charter school or has a program that fits their needs better, how dare you take that away from them? How dare you say you're setting them up for success? The programs that you talked about, they're not the same as the program that these kids are going to. So you need to stop all this nonsense and you need to work together in the best interest of our children. And that's not a lawsuit spending exorbitant money on lawyers and fees on specialists that don't know our town and don't know our kids.
Thank you. I see Jessica and Carmine. If you can please give us your name and address.
219 Union Avenue, Union Beach.
I'm sorry, we missed your name. Please say it again.
My name's Carmine Leota.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make this quick. I saw a couple words in the presentation about conspiring. Union Beach is conspiring against Keyport. I'm a parent. I moved here 2 years ago, and one of the reasons why we moved here was because we had the choice to send our child where we wanted them to go. And no offense to all of you who I'm sure care about the children, we don't want our child going to Keyport. We wanted them to go to another district, okay? Because from what I'm reading, Keyport is $299 overall in New Jersey. Henry Hudson, Red Bank Regional, and Hazlitt are all, 190, 184, 185. So it was our choice. Nobody came up to us. Nobody said, oh, you should send your child to this school because it's better. Or we have the choice. We did the research. We moved here for the reason that we wanted what's best for our child. Okay. It wasn't, no one was conspiring. Nobody was whispering in our ear. It was our choice. And we would move if this would end up going towards Keyport because of that particular reason. We want what's best for our child. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to keep it short.
Thank you. Mr. Leota, would you mind giving me your address again? I'm sorry.
219 Union Avenue.
Thank you very much. I see a C Sir Video. If you can please give us your name and address.
Name is Matthew Lecomte, and we're at 729 Bayview Ave in Union Beach. And I think my statement would probably attest to a lot of other parents is that the main goal here for you guys is to attest that you're looking out for the children and what's best for the children. Now, I see that your special needs numbers don't really change. Well, are they really not changing because the kids that are attending special needs have been attending the same program since they have been in, say, elementary school? And then when they've gotten to high school, it was just because you guys already have had their file. So it's easier for parents who are local to be able to help their child if they need to go to the school. But my big thing is that we pay almost $13,000 in property taxes, right? So I don't want my kids to go to Keyport High School where they're going to get a lesser education and lesser sports programs than, say, if I were to send my child to Hazlitt where they have outstanding academic programs and they have outstanding sports where it's recognized. The most that you have, you're saying that your school has to offer is a Brookdale Community College. Who wants to send their kid to Brookdale? You realize that kids go to Brookdale for the main reason that they just can't afford to go to a bigger school. Why is my main goal going to be like, oh yeah, let me send my kid to Keyport so that he could attend Brookdale Community College and where he can go somewhere better and get a better education? That's the goal for us as parents, is to provide our children with the best possible quality education. And unfortunately, for as long as I've been alive, Keyport has had horrible academics. They have had horrible schooling. The kids that came from Keyport have not been the brightest. So what are you forcing? Are you going to try to force the parents to send their kids to Keyport? Because then the parents are just going to up and leave out of Union Beach and go over into Hazlitt or Red Bank or somewhere where they're going to be able to send their kids. So if we're looking at for what's best interest of our children, we leave it the way that it is. We stop talking about a couple $100,000 that is over a period of time, and it's projected. It's not even an actual figure. We're talking about projections. And we let our children get the education that they deserve, and that's by letting them go where they're accepted. If they earn a better school, that's where they should go. They shouldn't be subject to a lesser education solely because you guys want the money from our town that we pay taxes in. It shouldn't go that way. If we're looking at for what's best interest of our children, my suggestion, and I'm sure with a lot of other parents, is you leave the Union Beach kids alone and you leave the system the way that it is. It's been working. The only reason why it's not working now is not working for Keyport.
Excuse me, I'm going to have to interrupt. It's over 3 minutes, but thank you very much.
All right.
I have a Matthew McMahon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have a question for the attorney.
Sorry, we need your address also, please.
I'm sorry, 43 Manchester Avenue in Keyport.
Thank you.
I have a question for the attorneys. what authorities would actually have jurisdiction over enforcing this? And sort of why have they failed to enforce it? And I guess when you're talking such large sums of money, like, it definitely seems like, there might be some other punitive damage, not just, financial repercussions, but, who should be responsible for overseeing this, and why haven't they enforced these rules throughout the years?
Okay,
Board President, do you want me to use the remainder of the time to quickly answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so the authority that enforces sending receiving relationships is the Commissioner of Education, is the ultimate authority on this. So basically the issue is you have to bring these matters to the attention of the commissioner, and that you do that through the form of a petition, which is what we filed, obviously seeking the relief we laid out in the presentation. So the answer to your question is Commissioner of Education ultimately has the authority. The way he exercises that authority is when a petition is brought to his attention, the matter is transmitted to the administrative law judge for a hearing, and then the commissioner reviews those decisions and findings and can award the relief that we're looking for. Thank you.
Florence Byrne.
Yes, hi, good evening. I'm 30 Bucknell Drive in Hazlet, New Jersey. I'm just listening to a lot of emotional things here. And I know the sad part of it is I understand that running a school district can be a business. I think what my question has always come up through your previous speakers. This has been going on for quite a long time. I mean, Union Beach started sending their students to Red Bank Regional quite some time ago. And it just becomes apparent that Keyport is now going after all the surrounding districts because we've become a line item budget and it's become a crisis for your district. These matters should have been handled. I attend the Union Beach Board of Education meetings on a regular basis for a couple of decades now. And we've had several of our special education parents come with concern. And the whole idea of dividing populations of students, whether they be gifted, average, special education needs, is really disgusting in my eyes. I don't think that that should have ever entered the conversation nor the lawsuit that you have posed around the whole district. I just hope that somebody brought up something that we're spending a lot of money on attorneys. I think that the attorneys are making the best deal here. And I think you should all have progressive thought and look to the treasures that you have here and make progressive decisions for the good of the students. Thank you.
Thank you. A. Sampson.
Hi, good evening. One second. Hi, Adam Sampson, 1219 Florence Avenue, Union Beach, also a Union Beach Board of Ed member. Speaking clearly and only as a parent, my question is you keep putting out how we don't send our students there. We don't send anyone there. The parents do. If the parents make decisions to send their students elsewhere, good for them. That's what they do. We are using our tax dollars to do so, and they're being properly spent. You keep referring to Keyport. What about Union Beach and us? Maybe instead of wasting time with pointless lawsuits, pointing fingers at us or pointing fingers at other townships, fix the incompetence your system has and make parents want to send their students there instead of elsewhere. My best interest is our children, also my children. And that interest is not Keyport as far as I'm concerned any longer. I'm concerned that when enrollment was at full status there, you didn't have any of the programs you mentioned losing anyway. So it's kind of a moot point on that. You should concentrate more on getting parents to want to send their students there and want their children to go there, or in general, just get a decent education, the best that they can be provided. Sometimes that might not be your school. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Drake.
Hi, yes, Tom Drake, 36 Green Grove Ave, Keyport, New Jersey. Oh, well, obviously. I just wanted to say, at what point does Keyport ask themselves, why does even Keyport not want to send their students, their children to the high school? When you have members of the Board of Ed, members of the town council, lots of parents sending their students out of district, at what point do you ask yourself, why? I don't want to hear, if I hear about our beautiful track one more time, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. I don't want to hear about a beautiful track. I want to hear about, look at our wonderful programs for our special needs students. Look at these wonderful programs that will help these students succeed and go to great colleges. As a parent of a special needs child, we had to fight tooth and nail to get him the services that he deserves. And as a parent, that is frustrating. This school district should be ashamed of itself for this whole circus of a lawsuit. You should all be disgusted with yourselves and care more about the students and less about the freaking money. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I see Kate Bronstein. Oh, sorry if I said that wrong.
No, it's all good. Thank you very much for letting me speak, and I truly appreciate all of you taking your time on Tuesday. I hope all of you had a great weekend, and it's very heated conversation here. And I'm new to the district, and my school just joined middle school here. I met some of you over the course several months, and I truly enjoy my interactions with all of you. As a parent who actually moved to Keyport from Red Bank and having the oldest kid finishing Red Bank Regional, I have the experience myself also. And I will tell you that when we moved to Red Bank 10 years ago, having two kids, we truly did not want to take our daughter to go to Red Bank public schools, because Red Bank public schools 10 years ago were not in the same great shape like they are right now. I'm not talking about the regional, because the regional has fundings and has students from Little Silver, Shrewsbury, and Red Bank, right? But Red Bank public schools were in a horrible shape when the Dr. Rumage became superintendent. And over the course of all of those years, he uplifted the schools. So right now, parents actually would like to move to Red Bank, purchase the house in Red Bank, because of the great education that Red Bank only recently started offering. And attending the last meetings, I saw so many passionate parents who love Keyport, who love the fact that they live here, have been living here, and their children are going to school. I heard them speak from their hearts, and I truly believe you have a great support system. I agree with many parents who spoke today. It is true, you're not going to force parents to send their kids to the district that does not offer really good education. It is true. Everybody would like their children to be disciplined, to grow up as a responsible human being, the decent citizens of their country. But you have great support. And if we truly would like to improve our school, our high school, We're never going to have the issues that parents don't want to send the children. We're never going to have the issue that we're running out of fundings, because it is funding. We need to have money to support everything. So I support all of you. I truly appreciate you opening that hidden discussion and taking the hit today from Keyport and from Union. And I truly believe that all of us with the right tactics can improve our schools from inside out. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate, can we please have your address?
Sure, Anthony, it's 100 First Street.
Thank you. T. Zimmerman, if you can please give us your name and address.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tracy Zimmerman, 102 Isabel Avenue, Union Beach. So obviously, I am a parent of a current middle schooler who's in 7th grade and a 2nd grader who has had some special need tendencies in the past. And I have to tell you, like, following along with this letter that was released on 2/9 from Keyport's superintendent, reading it, how it basically stated how we only send our special needs students to Keyport. It was hurtful and it was discriminatory, and it definitely put a sour taste in the community of Union Beach. It was interesting, though, in your community presentation tonight, you highlight a small sentence stated on 2/12 from Union Beach, which was our community's response to the disparagingly disgusting letter that was put out to the public on 2/9. So that's just a little fun fact there. So looking at the high schools in question, Keyport from US News, which again, I don't know how reputable that is, but Keyport ranks 368 out of 496. Whereas Henry Hudson, RBR, and Hazlitt rank 161, 118, and 192. So as a parent, and I'm looking at all of you, you don't see me, but I'm looking at all of you, would you want to send your child to a school that ranks almost at the bottom of a list? Would you want to hear that all you talk about is money and funding? Are you aware that the class sizes differ year over year? So of course, your incoming freshmen into Keyport are going to fluctuate year over year, because some years the classes in Memorial School graduate at 70 and some years maybe they're at 40. Did you think of that? Or you want to present to Keyport how you feel we're stealing from you? Scott, he brings up send and receive relationships with communities like Rumson and Millstone. Those are not the same demographics as Union Beach. They're not the same demographics at Keyport. So you're not comparing apples to apples. Then on top of that, you talk about the hardships. Tom Drake, he's from your community. Bravo to him as a special needs parent, asking you, where do you send your children? You know, it's funny because you read these articles on the, Asbury Park Press. I would never send my children to Keyport. Have you driven through Union Beach and seen how the town's demographic is changing? These people aren't forced by hardships to send their children where they're forced to send them. Many of them, including me, because I'm obviously not from the area, listening to me speak, we chose this community because we had options, because we had opportunities. You don't offer any opportunities. You want to go after Hazlitt because they have 6 of our students, 6 over 4 years, 6. You want to go after RBR because they have 87 students. Those kids worked hard to get into that school. And if RBR is going to take them, but here's the bigger question. Why does it cost more money to send our students to Keyport that ranks 368 when it costs less money to send our kids to RBR and they rank 118? I don't understand how you can sit and you want to come after our town. You're going to break the divide, make us more divisive. And here we are in a world where we're all supposed to be coming together and working together. You want to come after our tax dollars. You want to come after our students and treat them like dollar signs. You don't care about the education of the students.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's the 3 minutes. Thank you.
I said enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Henning.
Hi, Jennifer Henning, 102 Main Street. Hi, everybody. A lot of people that I want to thank for giving my kids a great education, actually. So I guess I'm going to begin by saying it's funny how the perspectives are different by some of the Keyport versus the Union Beach people. Especially with regard to the article in the Asbury Park Press when they published the 2 letters. I found that I was not offended at all by the mention of special ed, as you all, well, as some people know. I have 3 kids that went through actually 4 kids that went through the system, 2 that were special needs, 1 that was kind of a middling student, and 1 who was an outstanding student, the valedictorian. And I was not offended by Dr. Savoya's letter. I did feel that the response from Union Beach was rather inflammatory. And I see by how some people have commented on the letters, it worked. It did inflame people to believe that the questions were about special needs kids, and it isn't about special needs kids. It's about culling 10 to 15% of the students out of this school district. And then if they don't succeed for whatever reason, and I'm not talking about the special needs students, Red Bank's not taking any of them. Hazlitt's not taking any special needs students. None of the sending district, receiving districts are taking the special needs students. They stay here. They're taking the students that, you know, who work for them. So, however, if they don't succeed, where do they go? Dr. Savoya, anybody want to answer that? Where do they go if they don't succeed in the districts in Red Bank and Hazlitt? They come right back here, correct?
Perry, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, that's been our experience, and that's what the information shows.
So it's not to me, it's not there's no parity there. That's, you know, it's an unfair relationship. It's been mentioned that, you know, that we're taking dollars from Union Beach. When I moved here in 1984, and somebody did talk about researching, and I researched a little bit when I moved into the district, but I didn't really understand New Jersey. And when I first moved here, I was surprised to find out that there were districts that had 1 school and a superintendent. And so you have layers of administration in Union Beach that you're paying for with your tax dollars that, to me, merge the schools.
I need to interrupt. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
I'm 3 minutes? That was 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Michelle Oldhafer.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me? This
Yes.
is not Michelle, this is her husband, Marco.
Marco, can we have your address, please?
503 Bay Avenue, Union Beach.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to say I'm going to probably be a little bit on the opposite side of where we heard a lot of Union Beach residents coming from, but I've had 2 students come through the system. We're basically into our 7th year. I got a junior in high school at Keyport High School. And I just have to add, I do see some of the number disparity and where that could become an issue, and since we have talked about putting kids in school and having the option and so on and so forth in regards to sending them to Union Beach Keyport rather, or Red Bank. And it was always like, you have to get in. So we never opted that. We never went for that. But the issue is, it does appear that only the lesser get to go to Keyport. So with that being said, it has always been from our side of Union Beach that we would prefer them to go somewhere else. And I believe that's wrong, because kids make out of their school what they make out of it. They don't just go into the greatest school and become an A student. They can go into a school and make the most out of it and really learn. That is where you get the most out of it. You can send the best student to the worst school and he could make something out of it, and vice versa. So I just want to kind of add that into the equation. And I do understand. I don't know some of the things that have happened over the time that with the letters and so on and so forth. I just literally learned about this today, but I feel pretty strongly about it, that I've had 2 kids come to Keyport and they're fantastic. They've been good. They're into, one's in college now, the other one's going soon. So I don't know what else to say, but I think people do need to look at numbers, just from your house expenses and so on and so forth. Your house needs to be in order. And with that being said, you have a lot of things to consider. So thanks, Keyport, for doing a good job for my boys.
Thank you. Sorrel?
Hello. I'm Sorrel White, 90 Fulton Street here in Keyport. I'm also an employee of Keyport School District. Not only am I an employee, I live here in Keyport, and I've had two beautiful kids that made it through Keyport's system. When I first started working here in Keyport, my kids were actually enrolled in Long Branch School District because that's where I was. And I chose to pull my kids from Long Branch School District to come to Keyport so they can have a sense of pride in their neighborhood and have friends in their neighborhood. I have one kid that was special needs. Keyport has done so much for my kids. I have a daughter who is 24 years old with a master's degree and is now in education as a social worker trying to help out. We have my son who's 19 years old who also graduated from Keyport, who is attending Montclair University and is on Dean's List every year that he's been there this far. Keyport did not deprive my kids of any education whatsoever. And I have to say, even as an employee of Keyport and parents that work with me know I will go through the fire for their kids to make sure their kids get exactly what they need and what they need to be successful in life as. So I get really offended because I know me, parents that work with me know me, and I'm tired of hearing that Keyport doesn't do good. Keyport doesn't offer this. Keyport only has failing kids. Well, it takes a whole community besides the kids' parents to help. And right now we are completely divided and we need to get on the same page and we all need to come together for these kids. Keyport is not a horrible school to send your kids to. And as I said, I already had two kids come through there, and one with a master's degree right now and another one working on a degree in economics. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Lisa Schwartz?
Okay, I'm sorry. I think a lot of things, I'm a Union Beach mom.
I'm sorry, can we get your address, Mrs. Schwartz?
I'd rather not say, but because I was also a Keyport parent.
Okay, we're saying Union Beach parent?
And now I am a Union Beach parent.
Okay.
So to protect the identity of my child, I'd rather not.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. She is in high school and I have two younger children. My daughter will be graduating from Keyport. She's comfortable with it at this point. We moved here to Union Beach for a better opportunity because our younger kids, I just don't believe in the education system of Keyport since living there. We moved here for a better opportunity and options as our younger kids grow up. And this is speculation and everything, but even today, there was two girls fighting in a hallway over something stupid. This is not something that my daughter needs to know about, or makes me uncomfortable that she has to go through this. And I believe there should be more standards for bullying and picking on kids, and it makes me uncomfortable that she's going there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Ross?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Jessica Ross, 729 Prospect Ave, Union Beach. I just wanted to touch on, I'm a Keyport alumni. I live in Union Beach now. My son's in kindergarten. Keyport High School is what you make of it. I was on honor roll all 4 years. Went to Brookdale through the Rising Stars program. Came out with an associate's and went to Stockton. You have a lot of bright students that go to that school. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Eileen Woodruff. Try this again. I'm sorry. Eileen Woodruff. She doesn't seem to, I'm not able to unmute her. Yes, I am.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I apologize. Hi, my name's Eileen Woodruff. I live on 913 Fifth Street in Union Beach. I currently have 3 children that attend Memorial School and one that will be entering high school in the fall. Have you ever reached out and done a panel of parents of children that go to all these additional schools that are not Keyport and found out why they send their children there? Because I have to tell you, I'm not from this area. I went to Old Bridge. So we took our child to both the open houses, and walking into Red Bank, I had no clue what I was walking into. It was enlightening. It was by far an amazing presentation. They give you a folder with all this information of all the courses and activities and clubs and educational experiences, and not even just the education, but the clubs that they have there. It was just mind-blowing. And then they bring you into these classrooms and they show you everything and all of their technology and all of the materials and the hands-on and the books. It was great. Then we go into the gym. There had to have been 30 plus clubs. There had to have been 15 plus sport activities for these kids. We go to Keyport the following week. Again, not knowing what we're going to walk into because we're not from either of those high schools. I was shocked by the presentation that was given to the parents. It was poorly done. Your superintendent barely spoke. And the teachers, you could tell, really did care for their children. They did. I'm not going to take that away from them. But there was very little interaction with anybody in the halls, even the classrooms. The teachers were not prepared with presentations. Given what Red Bank was going to give my child in his education in the different classes, completely not even close to it in Keyport. So that's probably where you guys should start. Instead of going after us with a lawsuit, you should probably start and look at the programs that Red Bank is offering and try to incorporate some of those in your education program. You know, you're talking about, you know, the financial burden of the enrollment numbers dropping. Look at the enrollment numbers of the last 5 years. Why are you starting this fight now? This should have been a fight you started years ago. And then trying to figure out, what are these other schools giving these students that we're not? Why are we not offering that to these students? That's how you get those kids back. You give them the education that they're getting in these other schools. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. LG.
Hi, Lori Graham, 197 Broadway in Keyport. I guess I have more of a question. I know it was said that there is no written agreement between Union Beach and Keyport, or none that can be produced. So my question is there a document, is there a written agreement between Union Beach and Red Bank, Henry Hudson and Hazlitt? And if so, when are those agreements from? And then if these agreements do exist, does that not then mean that it's sanctioned by the Commissioner of Education? And that's all I really wanted to know.
Perry, do you want to use the last minute for that?
Sure. Yeah, so we're not aware of any send receive agreements between Union Beach and any of the other schools, Hazlitt, Henry Hudson, or Red Bank Regional. We don't believe there is one that exists between them. We know that there has been one that existed between Keyport and Union Beach for years, and we now know that that relationship is statutory, as confirmed by their own board, and also by the executive county superintendent, who sends that communication each year. So yeah, we are aware that we have a relationship. The others do not have a formal relationship.
Thank you. Rebecca Adamczyk.
Hi, Rebecca Adamczyk, 221 Central Avenue, Union Beach. So I've lived in Union Beach for 42 years. I was born and raised here, went through Memorial School, graduated from Red Bank Regional High School, along with my 6 brothers and sisters. You know, I understand that Keyport is our main district that our children go to, but it's not that our school system is blatantly sending students to other districts. You know, it's a personal choice between a parent and their child to where they want to go. If they want to go to Red Bank Regional, they're just not accepted. They have to apply, they have an interview, they have, you know, all of this process to get in. If they want to go to some of these technical schools, it's the same thing, Henry Hudson. So I just feel that we are offered this opportunity to work with our children and decide where we can get the best education for them. And if that means that they want to attempt to apply to these other schools, then I think that's our right. You know, the one thing that I really don't like is the fact that Keyport went about this by, you know, putting this out on social media where our children can see it, and that our children have to, you know, we're trying to explain to them what's going on, and this is affecting them. And I really don't think that that's fair. So I really wish that Keyport had gone about this in a different way.
Thank you. Christy DiPaolo.
Hi, thank you. Christy DiPaolo, 289 Main Street in Keyport. I definitely take offense to some of the, you know, the comments that have been made about the Keyport High School. If you're not there, you don't understand the priceless quality that Keyport does offer its students. I think that this webinar presentation has gotten away from the fact, has Union Beach violated the send-receive relationship with Keyport? And that's what we're supposed to be here talking about, not putting down on paper. Red Bank Regional has much more to offer than Keyport school system does, but Keyport does offer a lot. And I just wanted to, you know, bring the conversation back to the fact that the send-receive relationship has been violated by Union Beach. They are to send all of their kids there. If they, you know, if there's something we don't offer and they test into another program, that's wonderful. But we shouldn't hold the responsibility of just taking everybody without, do you need to test into the Keyport school district? Do we have to take everybody from Union Beach? Where are our choices and what are we going to do moving forward? Not talking about everything that's happened in the past. We just need a plan to go forward and how it can work for everybody who wants to be there. That's all I need to say.
Hi, yes, Chris Menapace, 6 St. George Place in Keyport. I'm hearing a lot of people from Union Beach saying, why would we send, our children to Keyport when we have better options? And why can't you compete with, Red Bank Regional and Henry Hudson? And I think what I would like people to realize is it's a little bit of a chicken and an egg scenario. The situation with Union Beach has been going on for decades. And when you have a relationship with another district, the way Keyport and Union Beach have, it's really been to the detriment of the Keyport High School for decades now. So we have actually been unable to compete with other high schools because of this situation. So then to hear Union Beach parents say, well, why can't you compete? Well, maybe it's because this has been going on for years that you have been sending to districts that require a test-in and Keyport doesn't, and the gaps that has created. And I really want to speak to our Keyport students because they don't have these choices. And really what is happening is that one district is having an abundance of choices to the detriment of our own Keyport students who do not have the same choices. I wouldn't want to take anything away from Union Beach. I think that they have a wonderful scenario for them, but I would like to see what can be done for our Keyport students. And, I really think that we need to broaden our perspective as to solutions on this. I think the petition is good. I think that it's great that the dialogue has started. It's something that needs to be discussed by both districts. And I hope that we can find a solution where our Keyport students are given the same sort of choices and advantages that Union Beach is currently enjoying. That's about it.
Thank you. Ms. Grabowski, I believe that's everyone.
Okay. Okay, if that is everyone. I would like to thank everybody for coming tonight and participating. I would ask for a motion from my board members to adjourn the meeting.
Make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.